inside of you.
Warm welcome to this episode of this podcast. And today, as you see, I have a friend with me, a new friend. We just met a couple of minutes ago, but it feels like we have been meeting each other several times because I've been listening to several podcasts that he has been part of. And his name is Hussein Hallak. And I'm so glad that you have joined the podcast today, Hussein.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation. I feel the same because I've been listening to some of your podcasts. So it's great to finally be together and meet you.
So I thought that I would give a short introduction to you and, of course, add in things that I'm missing that is important. So you are a true entrepreneur, as I see it. It's really throughout what you do. You're born in Syria, there where your adventures started. And then you took the ride to Dubai, where you also worked a lot with building and growing businesses there. And now you have taken your adventures to Vancouver in Canada. And there you lead the Canada's top tech incubator. So that's really a great way of showing your passion and your work as a CEO at Next Decentrum, your company there, where you help businesses to unlock new opportunities and grow through innovative tech solutions, AI, and data strategies. But I think your story is much bigger than titles and ventures in that sense. It seems that you really truly are a mentor by heart, and that you show in what you do. You seems to be really people-centered person, and that you also show through your storytelling as an author of the book The Dark Art of Life Mastery. There you really invite us readers to explore life, both from the challenging angles, but also see the possibilities and with honesty and courage. So it's really a privilege to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me. That's a wonderful introduction. I'm always amazed. It never goes old when somebody kind of talks about my journey from their perspective. I love the word adventure. I don't think anyone before you have used that. And I love it because some of my favorite shows are adventures, right? So this is I'll take it. It's so awesome to hear that. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation. That's a great start.
Yeah, but it really shows the book you wrote. It really feels like you are on an adventure in life in that sense. So
I am very much so. I do approach everything like an adventure. And if it's not exciting as an adventure, I get bored really easily, which sometimes gets me in trouble because adventures doesn't mean always, fun stuff. Adventures can be risky and dangerous.
yeah,
But I think I don't know, maybe when I was very young and because of the shows that I've seen from the adventures of Pepero, which I wrote about, or the Treasure Island, which were actually Japanese show. I didn't know that they were Japanese. They were dubbed in Arabic, but they were some of the most beautiful and most meaningful shows that talked about principles of humanity. Like there was always people who stood up for something and believed in something, and they had a dream. They pursued that dream, and along the way they became the people they needed to be. It wasn't no longer about the treasure that they found, or that is if they found the treasure, or let's say the objective they wanted to go after. It's who they became, and they discovered that it was all about something else after all. Even though they are such a simple story, but it is the hero journey. It is the human journey of anticipating where we want to go after something, going after it, and then discovering that it's something else and learning about ourselves along the way. So I love the word adventure. Thank you for that.
yeah. And I'm curious in that sense because it seems that you really have a curiosity of life in that sense, or curiosity in the people you meet. So how do you boost that and continue to be that curious?
I think I was thinking about that because I get asked that question, and in relation actually to, let's say, kids today and the troubles that we have today. And I don't think it's just a generational thing. Like, we always, older generation, look at the younglings, look at how they're wasting their lives. That's how we were called by our parents, wasting your life, do something important. But there is something different, which is when we grew up, we didn't have a lot to do. I just noticed on my watch list video by Harvard, was like how important it is to be bored. You need to not be entertained all the time. And we had a lot of time on our hands. we had 1 hour of kids programming while I was growing up in Syria. And in Syria, you don't have a lot of things to pursue. Like, you can't be on a sports team. There are no, let's say, sports leagues and stuff like there are, but you get there through you have to know somebody. Your father has to be somebody important, and they push you into the team. There are, of course, some talented people, but it's very rare. And if you get hurt, you have to pay for yourself. So if you're poor or you're not that rich, you don't play any sport. So even though I liked basketball, I had nothing to pursue. So there was no one field that had, let's say, something to pursue. So we had all the options because we had no options, if that makes any sense. So nobody would say, yeah, play basketball more because you can become X. Well, in Syria, there's no way you can become that. Or study harder in engineering because you can lead a company. I mean, the word entrepreneur doesn't even exist in the Arabic language. With the lack of those, it left a lot of space, I think, for dreams. For me, at least, those dreams were mostly hanging in the, I would say, in the story space, in like the stuff that I read. So the books that I read, I was like, I would imagine myself, what if I could live that life? So that's kind of replaced the usual where you have right now, if I look at my kids, you have to pick a career, you have to choose your path for work and for money. I never had to think about that, not because I didn't have the money. I wanted money, but there was no path for that. And we didn't have somebody to recommend, or career advisors, or even in school. You're taught now, get out. That's it. You learned some math. Now off to university, whatever you want to choose. And we chose university based on status. You either in Syria, you're either a doctor or an engineer or nobody. That's it. Everybody else is in the same bucket. And I chose engineer because I wanted to see a computer. So that kind of started my life. And I think that gave me, looking back, of course, when I was there, I didn't think about that. I was like, I wanted more of life, and I wanted that structured approach that I saw in the movies and how people choose a career and become something, but there was no path for it. So looking back right now, I see it as a gift and a blessing rather than a curse.
When did you realize, so to say, that you actually can lead and take you through life in that sense, decide on where you want to go and do and such? Where did you start to find that?
That's an interesting question. I think I started to do that when others stepped back. So when I was younger, I would say like 10th grade, my teens and early adulthood, I would say I was bullied quite a bit. And for me, I wanted to be in the shadow of others that would protect me. So for me, I think leadership at the time meant protection, because if I wasn't, I was very thin. I'm still thankfully a little bit thin. So I'm thin. I have like a small body compared. I didn't grow tall really. While my friends were growing taller when I was younger, I was a small little kid. So I got bullied quite a bit, and I was very sensitive. So I'd cry quite a bit because my parents and in our circles, I never heard, let's say, people swearing at me. And my mother was very protective. So when I got out, I couldn't understand why people were so mean. Why were so mean to me? Why aren't you so nice? Why can't we just have fun? So I sought the protection of others who were stronger. But then when I stepped into university, I noticed that a lot of people cared a lot about how they show up. So they would, in the presence of others, they wouldn't be themselves. And I'm like, what is that? What is going on? Because I didn't understand what's going on. It wasn't like, I was more aware, just to be clear. It was like, what is going on? Why is this person? Because I was growing up in Syria, you go to schools and usually it's segregated schools, women, girls and boys. And when you grow up, there's not that good relationship between men and women, in the sense that you don't congregate and have like regular regular friendships all the time. They did, of course, there's a lot of people had friendship, but it's not normal. Usually it's like you're geared towards, you marry the woman and then you build a house with her. That's you build a family, and that's the purpose of like the whole society. But I was growing up, my parents were very the environment where we're always surrounded by friends of the family. I had friends that were girls all my life, so I never like acted weird in front of other people. I noticed kids would act, early adults in university would act weird. They would put on like a different face. I was like, what's going on? And that was when I stepped in. That was the first time when I realized, I think I made a decision, no, I'm gonna be me throughout the time. And that led to a lot of times you have to tone down how much you like certain subjects. You don't want to show up as a geek, for example. I got all A's. I was one of the top performers in university. I didn't shy away from my talents, and I saw a space for them, and that was the first step. But the real leadership decision was when we were forming a band, and I stepped in and I said, I'll sing. And I didn't have that much of a great voice. I didn't train my voice, but I had a perfect English accent because of how I had a musical ear and I had a knack for languages. And I said, I'll sing because none of you know how to sing a good English. And that was the first step where I stepped into something. And I think that was it occurs to me when I look back, that is the moment of leadership. It's stepping in and claiming something, not that I'm better, but for the sake of the group. I said, if we want to succeed as a group, we need to do something really well done. And even though I'm not the best voices here, but I'm the best compared to what we want to achieve. So as a team, this is the best for the team. And that was it. And since then, I found myself at every moment when there is a vacuum of leadership or nobody stepping in, I'll step in. And it wasn't like for me to be, above others. It's me in service of others. And it just was something I didn't think about. But then, of course, I started to grow it and develop it. And people seem to be happy, oh, somebody's taking care of this. I don't have to do it. Let me step back. And of course, that's not good for leadership. You want others also to step in. So then I learned about not leadership just stepping in, but also leadership and nurturing leadership in others. So that was the moment. Great question.
Now, when you are working with these tech incubators, all these startups, so what are you taking in there to really boost them in a way?
I think the biggest thing is because I was a non-conventional leader in my world. Now, leadership means different things right now. We understand more about it. But at that time, a leader meant different things. Strength, big in size, the people who had style, like people anointed, let's say, or gave a position of influence or leadership for others for different reasons. And because I wasn't none of those, I didn't think of myself as particularly good looking. I changed that view right now. I didn't think like I wasn't particularly stylish in the sense that, like, compared to others, I didn't have any of the things that people seem to have valued. So now when I sit with young entrepreneurs or up and coming entrepreneurs, and they don't have what they call confidence, or they're afraid to step into, and because entrepreneurship requires that decision or choice to lead a life, to lead a company, to lead a venture or an adventure, in your own words, towards something. So you have to take those steps, and you can't wait for somebody to drag you into entrepreneurship. It's probably one of the only disciplines where everything you do requires leadership, because you're stepping into uncertainty all the time. So when I sit with them, the first thing that makes me a great mentor is I see the leader in them before they see it in themselves, even if they don't see it in themselves. And my job is to make them okay with that, to make them understand that leadership come in all shapes and sizes, and they don't need to be a leader like somebody else. They need to be the leader that they are already. So I think that helped me immensely, being someone that came from the unlikely places. Everything that I've done, I was probably the most unlikely candidate to lead that thing or make it successful. And I did. And I did it like quite a few times. And I realized that this is kind of the nature versus nurture kind of conversation. And it was the ability to nurture that, and the ability to nurture that in yourself. That gave me the confidence and I would say, not the confidence. I have a strange relationship with that word. I would say the will and the choice, and to be in a position where I can pull that out of them or allow them to show it and to be okay with it. Because leadership is scary. It's not that we have leadership or not. If we forget the skill aspect of leadership, this choice to move forward puts you into a lot of trouble. Whether you're now responsible for the problems that happen when you're hiding among a people, like, oh, responsible. No, but when you're a leader, like the buck stops with you. It's you in the crosshairs. So it's scary. It's scary to say, I am now responsible for this, because now a big weight is on your shoulder. So that is the first choice that they have to make. That, am I willing to take the crap along with the good things, because there's more crap coming my way. And I think when they become comfortable with that, and they understand that that's a prerequisite to move forward anyway in life, it becomes easier and easier, and they become more skilled.
Yeah, and I think that really learning and understanding, in the sense that it all starts from you in that sense. So leading oneself is the first thing, and maybe the only thing you need to learn. The other will come. The better you are leading oneself, so to say, the better you can lead others. That is at least my thinking of it.
Oh, for sure. I'm sorry, was there a question,
No, but
or
I'm thinking that it's you said that also that confidence, you don't, so to say, work with that word so often. But it sounds also like, when you're talking about that, it's something, it's some passion somewhere inside of you that you want to do something that makes you take the lead and drive you to take that. So it starts from inside. Is that true, or is it something I'm
Yes.
making up?
No, it's, I think the reason I have an issue with the word confidence or trust, not for anything, they're wonderful and they're important, but I think they rely on the past. How do you develop confidence? Like, am I confident that I'm gonna get the ball inside the hoop, if we use a basketball thing? Well, that relies on how many times I've done it in the past, so that I can get it in. I can't have that confidence if it's the first time I'm doing it. So that's why the problem with the word confidence, like, oh, you see people saying, you just need more confidence and you will be able to do, to speak in public. What if I haven't spoken in public? Where will I find the confidence from? So that is the issue. The issue is not the word. The issue is how we use the word. Trust is the same thing. Trust has its own components. Your character is not enough. You need some results. You need skills in order to build that trust in yourself. I love the word choice. Our lives are a continuous stream of moments of choice, where we're presented with a moment, and I can choose what to say right now. I may not have the confidence to say it. I may not trust myself to say it, but I can choose to say it nonetheless. And choice comes from inner power and the inner desire and will to make something happen. And this is something we've had since we were kids. We would choose what to do. We would have, let's say, several games I would play with Lego, and I would be building something, and I choose to stop building it, and I choose to play something else. And I don't have to have the confidence to build it. I don't have to have the understanding or the implications of leaving something behind and moving. So choice is really the mechanism to live life in the moment, because you can't choose in the past, you can't choose in the future, you can only choose in the present moment. That's it. It's not a decision. Decision depends on data and stuff like that. Choice is just what it is. I choose that person. I have no idea why, but they are my choice. And it's the thing that is so personal for you that nobody can debate your choice. Everybody can debate your decisions. You have a bad decision, good decision. You can have a choice, and a lot of your choices will be bad because compared by others, because it's your choice. The only person who needs to know why you made that choice is you. And if you don't know why and you want to make another choice, guess what? There's another moment coming and you can make a choice. And that is the power of choice. That's why I like it. And I think leadership is that it's a choice at its heart. That's why it's so hard. That's why a lot of people don't understand. And if you look at leaders, they come from all backgrounds. Whereas if you look at, let's say, certain positions, if you need to be a doctor, you can't become a doctor by choice. You have to study, you have to build, all of that expertise. Depending on what you're doing, there's a certain background that you need to have in order to perform that role. I can choose to be a musician today. That choice means years of practice in order to become a musician. The choice itself didn't change. change. The choice actually brought me all of that until I built the confidence, all of that. When I chose to step in and say, I will sing, it meant that I had to practice my voice, usually with a pillow on my face, because we had very thin walls with our neighbors. So I would scream into a pillow until I hit the notes. Not a very good practice. And then I went and learned with an opera singer, and I learned that how to manage my voice. And it wasn't because my voice was nice. I didn't know how to sing. I sang all the time with songs, but that's not singing. I mean, if I was on America Got Talent, I would be one of those who their community tricked them and saying, "You're awesome, just go on America Got Talent." Definitely humiliated. But then what I did is I started to train, and I took it seriously because I made that choice. I was like, my choice is I'm the headliner, and that's important for the band, and I will do whatever it takes. And the same thing with guitar, same thing with anything that I did. So I think for me, leadership in life and in your life in particular starts with your choices, and those choices are very personal, and you need to make a lot of them, because then only then you'll become I would say practiced enough in your choice, and the connection between your desires and what you want to happen in the world and your choices will become faster, more instantaneous, and more integrated with who you are and what you want to accomplish.
I find it really interesting to see how things we go through in life, how they shapes us to who we become and who we are, and what really stays with us in the end. If you look back on your own life story, at what points in life did you step forward and took the lead? Probably several times. Why did you? Why was that important? And here right now in the present, in what areas would you like to step forward and take a lead where you are right now? And let's play a little game. What if you actually do? Let's say that you meet yourself in 10 or 20 years from now and look back on this moment. What would your future self say to you? Like, I'm so thankful that you actually stepped forward and took the lead on this one. That has meant that I have grown in this way, I have learned this. I feel so proud of have done that. Or tell yourself why it's important. In the show notes, I have added in information on how you can connect with both me or Hussein. And also, I have added some additional resources to help you on your journey in this adventure of life. And of course, the link to the book that Hussein has written that we talked about is also there. If you need some additional support in coaching, online training, or something that will boost your leadership journey, I'm here to support you, and don't hesitate to reach out to me. Me and Hussein will continue our conversation already in the next episode, so hit follow if you're not already doing that with this podcast. And until then, be confident, be you.
Inside of you.